States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any public comments on the agenda items as listed? Yes, Mr. Conley.
David Carlin, 14 Barton Road. First of all, on a personal note, it's good to see you up and about town. Looking at the agenda, I see a vote for adoption of the 2020 budget is planned for this evening. Although the budget has been advertised for public review, there's been no opportunity for public comment. Since the public comment section of the agenda occurs after the budget adoption vote, I request on behalf of the taxpayers in attendance this evening that there be time allotted for public comment on the proposed budget before a vote is taken. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Bobby?
We have, I think, we wait. Wait a second.
Wait.
Okay.
Mr. Volodnik's,
Mr. Chairman, no comments.
Mr. Volodnik's here tonight to confirm that the roads are terrible in East Rockhill Township right now.
The ring underneath, the silver ring underneath the camera.
Anyway, there are several announcements which Jay is going to handle those
I'm
announcements.
sorry.
The other way. There you go.
Okay. The first on the announcements is that we will be holding an executive session for legal to follow tonight's meeting. And the second one is to recognize Donald B. Duvall for 18 years of service to West Rockhill Township as supervisor. The board has put together a resolution of West Rockhill Township recognizing and honoring Supervisor Donald Duvall for his years of service. Don, this is a plaque that we have put together for you.
Thank you very much.
And I will read this as a resolution of West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors recognizing and honoring Supervisor Donald B. Duvall, whereas the welfare and strength of the community depends on the dedication, commitment, and efforts of not only its residents and its employees, but upon its leadership as well. And whereas it is the intent of the Board of Supervisors of West Rockhill Township to acknowledge and give special recognition to those who serve this community. And whereas Mr. Duvall has tirelessly dedicated 18 years of service as a member of the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors. And whereas Mr. Duvall was instrumental in the completion and adoption of the West Rockhill Township Comprehensive Plan and the update of the West Rockhill Township zoning ordinance. And whereas Mr. Duvall has diligently served on the Penn Ridge Regional Police Commission and was actively involved in its formation, and has also served as past president of the Bucks County Association of Township Officials. Now therefore be resolved that the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors does hereby recognize, acknowledge, and extend its heartfelt appreciation to Donald Duvall for his many contributions to West Rockhill Township and its residents over the years, and offers best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors. Thank you for your service, Don. Presented the 18th day of December 2019.
Thank you very much.
I want to say it has been a pleasure working with Don. As many of you know, Don and I have not always seen eye to eye on issues, but that is what you want as taxpayers. Individual ideas to bring a better community to this township. And I will say I have learned some things over the years from Don, and I have been very grateful for the time that I have been able to work with him.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you.
I learned from you too, Jay.
Thank you.
Even though we didn't.
I also have something else. This is Certificate of Achievement presented to Donald Duvall, West Rockhill Township Supervisor, elected official from January 1st, 2002 to December 31st, 2019. He was instrumental in getting the comprehensive plan adopted, new zoning and subdivision regulations adopted. This is from Craig Stats, State Representative, 145th District. And I will say, for the comprehensive plan the first time around, I spent many years with Don on that every month. I think it was about 5 years to do that.
5 years.
Yeah.
First one, yeah.
So that's for
Thank you
you.
very much.
You're welcome. And I have one more thing we have to go through here. This is certificate of service hereby presented to Donald D. Duval, West Rockhill Township, Bucks County, in recognition of your 18 years of service as a township supervisor. We thank you for your selfish dedication to your community and local government, and your leadership, commitment, and passion, for serving your fellow citizens. Presented by the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, December 2019. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. All right, I also have some of the East Rockhill supervisors here that would like to say a few things, I believe. Mr. Lovnik, would you like to?
Sure.
Mr. Nyman and Mr. Nutowski.
Thank you. Thank you, John. The Board of Supervisors East Rockhill has worked with West Rockhill for many, many years. And we're here this evening to present a resolution to Don Duval, a resolution number 2019-08, in resolution of the Board of Supervisors East Rockhill Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, recognizing and commending Don Duval. Whereas Don Duval has served on the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors faithfully for 18 years. Whereas Don Duval has made sincere efforts to promote intermunicipal cooperation with East Rockhill Township. And whereas the East Rockhill Township appreciates the efforts of Don Duval to secure compromises in the areas of non-agreement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of East Rockhill Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, that Don Duval be commended and congratulated for his service to the East Rockhill Township community. Resolved at a duly convened meeting of the Board of Supervisors of East Rockhill Township conducted the 26th day of November 2019. Don, I want to present this to you on behalf of the board and its community, its residents, and we thank you for everything you've done.
Oh.
And I would just like to add, I know it's been alluded to in a couple of the other acknowledgements, but having worked with you both at the county and state level, both on the executive board for Picado, Bucks County Association Township Officials, and your service to PSATS, Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, I want to thank you and acknowledge your service for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Same thing, Don. You've been almost a mentor to me, my 10-year service in East Rockhill, working on the police building together, and lightning. Appreciate all your service and the help you've given me personally. You'll do well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
All right, with that concluded, I will, yes. Mr. Mark Horn from Grandview Hospital, I guess, would like to say.
Oh, sorry. I'd just like to say, Don, thanks for all the hard work you've done on behalf of Grandview and the township. And we see Don a lot at the hospital, his wife's one of our auxiliaries. And it's always been a pleasure. He's been gracious to me in my time in the township. And congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Duval.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, everybody who was involved with thoughts and processes and what just occurred. Very much appreciated. It was a great 18 years. Okay, the next item on the meeting agenda is a consent agenda. Gentlemen, you have in front of you the consent agenda. Do any of you have any questions or any items that you wish to discuss before we submit this for approval?
I have no questions or items. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, is there a motion and second for approval of the consent agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We have no confirmed appointments tonight. So the next item is committee reports. Planning Commission, Chris Thurston.
Good evening.
All right. The planning commission met last Tuesday. We had one applicant, it was Grandview Hospital. They came in with a sketch plan for a 141,000 square foot addition to the hospital. The addition would be in the area of the front parking lot and The professional building, which I would call the nurses building, that, the nurses building, the professional building would be raised, building to match the height of the existing hospital. They would be relocating the main entrance, relocating the ER, and raising the ER's classification. They'd be looking to move some of the beds over into that building. Apparently, some of the beds in the hospital are in the original hospital building. They're not very large, so they're looking for some more larger rooms for the hospital bedding. That, and you know, they're not sure what they're going to do with the rest of the space, but that was some of the things that they had presented to us. The handful of little issues, one of them being parking. A couple of those will get resolved. One of which, you know, they want to do reserve parking, so we'll find some space to just have reserve, as we've done in the past. So we don't have any problem with that. One of the bigger things, back in 2009, there was the improvement concept plan for Lawn Avenue. So this being on Lawn Avenue would fall under that plan. The plan calls for center lane when properties are developed along Lawn Avenue. And Steve, if you want to jump in and correct me anytime, that would be great, because it gets a little confusing. They're proposing to just do widening at their entrance, do a turn lane at their entrance, not the whole front of the property. It doesn't coincide with the concept plan, but it doesn't seem to be needed for the whole frontage. We are asking them to, instead of a full-blown traffic plan, to deal with the issues that we're having at Lawn and 309 and Lawn and Ridge. So they were very agreeable to take a look at all that and see what they can figure out to alleviate the issues up there. So they're also going to come back with, this is all sketch, so they're going to come back with projected employee count, the number of cars coming in and out and whatnot. So once we have that and the traffic study, we'll be able to better look at the situation at the entrance. So we will revisit when they come back in with all that, and that's pretty much what we had with the hospital. I don't know if I left anything out important.
Not particularly. I would just add that, as you're all aware, Lawn Avenue is a state road. So anything that we do require there, we have to coordinate with PennDOT. They are seeking to have they refer to it as a scoping meeting, but an initial meeting with PennDOT to talk about those improvements, you know, what the township is looking for, what PennDOT would be looking for, and how could we, you know, come to an agreement between the three parties. But I think Chris was right. The Planning Commission, you know, acknowledged that there's a significant issue at the traffic signals at the ramps. And if we could get some work done there in lieu of maybe some of the widening on the front of the property, that could be a good trade-off for the township to alleviate that ongoing traffic problem we've had.
I think that the key to the whole project is solving the traffic problem there. Because you're dealing with 309, 563 Lawn Avenue, tens of thousands of cars every day.
Yes, it's a complicated issue.
It is very complicated.
Even if they can't do all of the work, they could at least have a plan together, a long-range plan for what improvements have to be done. We could decide how much the hospital does and how much, you know, another development does.
You know, it seems like, I mean, Ridge Road is state road, Lawn Avenue is state road, 309 is state road. So I think there's a lot of weight on, should be a lot of weight on PennDOT to do something. Where they have
Should be, but
Big red?
I said should be is the key word. We don't always.
I think we have to press the
walk.
issue.
I would
That's my
agree.
suggestion. Okay, any questions?
So that's what we have with Grandview. So we'll be back in. Next item we had was the issue of our absentee planning commission member. You all know the situation. Due to a health setback, we've been without a fifth member for probably a year and a half now. And it's time to make a move here, to get somebody back on the planning commission that can sit in the meetings. One of the solutions we came up with was adding an alternate member and putting that member into place immediately, leaving Ben as a member, still just stays on disability. Putting an alternate in immediately until Ben is ready to come back, if he ever is going to be ready to come back. One of the drawbacks to that, as we found out, is there might be some limits to the capacities that an alternate member can have while sitting on the planning commission. So that's something that we need to talk to Mary about. Have any input?
Yeah, Greg told me about that maybe a month or two ago, and you can have an alternate member, but that alternate member, I believe, can only vote if there is a quorum available to vote. And we wondered if that would be practical for you or not.
That's a good question, yeah. So they can only vote if it's needed for a quorum?
Right.
Okay. So we can still have a
That
two-way
doesn't,
tie.
right, well, I think in practicality, you're an advisory body.
Right, exactly.
So if you said we had a 2-2 tie and the alternate member would have voted this way, that gives the board all the information it
Right.
needs.
Understood.
Is there another option with the alternative and permanent member?
Well, I mean, we can go a couple different ways. Honestly, this is the most compassionate way of dealing with it. Another option would be to make Ben an alternate and bring in a new member. By doing that, we eliminate whatever problems we would have with, having an alternate sit in. Either way, planning commission is on board with having an alternate for down the road, if we ever run into this situation again down the road.
It's a good objective.
Yeah, alternate would be copied on everything, all correspondence, that planning commission would be getting. So basically, we have someone in training, someone that would be able to come in the event that somebody resigns or moves out of here or whatever. So the alternate member is something that we would like to place. The status of that alternate member is something that we need to have further
So
discussion.
that's more discussion there.
Yeah, and Chris, as I mentioned in the meeting, I'm more in favor of filling the permanent position. And then I'm not against an alternate, but I'm more in favor of filling the permanent position. If you want to move Ben into another position, I don't have a problem with that because the alternate would rarely be used, if ever.
Right.
But we've
No,
got to get the permanent position filled. And it could be another year and a half or 2 years, so let's
Can't afford that.
face the truth, right? So I think after a year and a half, I think that's the direction we should be taking.
Well, it's actually more than a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, that decision would be on you guys. Planning commission, the original plan was what we had talked about. As I said, it's more of a compassionate solution than to pretty much an alternate or asking them to resign. But we would certainly, it's such a touchy subject. If you guys want to make a decision on that to go the other way, we're fine with that. Somebody's going to have to talk to them about this as well.
Yeah. So is the planning commission recommendation to fill the full-time now?
I would say
And
we want to, the recommendation is we need to put somebody in that seat.
I will agree on that.
We'll leave it to you as to if you want to appoint a new member or appoint an alternate. If you want to appoint a new member, I think we're all fine with that. So I guess number one, we'd ask you to start advertising for the position. And secondly, we would be asking for a policy change to bring in an alternate into the schedule. that makes sense.
They define when they are,
Yeah, I mean, there's
Used.
gonna be a lot of little definitions that we need
so
to
my
figure out.
manager say that you feel we should go the permanent route.
I do, I just think it's a more stable situation to have a permanent person in that position.
It's been too many years the way it is, and it's not good. So I would propose that we go that route, and we'll figure out how to deal with the personalities, et cetera.
Yep.
And that will be challenging, no question about that.
Right. I can't imagine, planning commission's gonna have a problem with that.
Chris, do you want to, I'm sorry, do you want to take this back to the planning commission?
I don't
and
think
talk
I need
them?
to.
Okay.
In brief discussions after the meeting,
Okay.
one at a time. After you had brought that up,
Right,
you know, we
yeah.
started thinking about it. So I don't think I need to take this back.
So I would make a motion to fill the position and that, and I'm going to make part of that motion to go ahead and advertise for it.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Do you have any comment, Jay, or?
No, I think, I mean, I respect Ben and all, but I understand, health is health, and I know that we've discussed probably a year ago about, having to make at least 75% of the meetings when you're on a committee. And, of course, we need somebody there full-time, so I'm okay with the path that you want to take.
Good.
Okay?
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's in your hands, Mr. Thurston.
Now, Chris, one more thing then about the alternate. Do we want to push that forward tonight, or do you have more talking to do with Mary? Do you have other things you need to discuss before we do that?
Well, I think you're gonna have to set up some ground.
Criteria.
Okay, so we'll do that in January.
Yeah, I don't think there's a big rush to do that.
Okay,
More importantly, is get this seat filled.
yes.
But yeah, the criteria that's gonna be involved with the alternate, when
Okay.
they sit in, what happens if somebody resigns, does the alternate go in automatically, or is it still an appointment? All that background stuff's gotta be cleared up.
And that's not a new concept. I mean, we have alternates from the zoning hearing board, and
They jump right
they
in.
get plugged in at any and every meeting,
Right.
because they're not always available, and that's why we have 2 or 3 alternates. And so it's not a new concept, and that's I believe, Mary, a quasi legal board.
The hearing board, yeah, there's different provisions for alternate members on the zoning hearing board, but it's the same concept. They're really actually only supposed to vote if there's not a quorum.
So my view is, you guys ought to proceed and work with Mary and Greg in terms of putting the wording down and how you're gonna deal with and handle the alternative.
Right.
And other than that, I think it needs to move forward, it'll be too long without a full court.
Yep, no, I agree. That's why I'm up.
It's a big step forward.
Yeah. So that is all we had. Is any more discussion needed about filling this
I
position?
don't think so. Ball's back in your court.
Thank you.
Ben,
I'll make a
Well, I'm
motion
done.
to accept the planning commission report.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
I never thought about
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, no.
Okay, Conservation Committee, Mr. Swigman.
Good evening. The Conservation Committee is a group of volunteers that help interested landowners preserve their properties through Pennsylvania's open space law. Our goal at West Rockhill is to conserve about 30%, and right now we've got 10,000 of the 10,000 acres. Right now we're about 17%, so we're pretty well more than halfway to our goal. Our last Conservation Committee meeting was held on November 21st. Highlights are open space signs. I've noticed, and I actually have a picture of one. The woodpeckers have been having a ball with some of our signs. We've got holes in them. So we're going to try to discuss repairing or replacing these signs with a sign maker. If you do notice a sign that's been either vandalized or has holes, just let the township manager know, and he'll get it to us and we'll take care of it. Sometimes we don't see every sign on that we have up. There's a lot of signs out there right now. Acreage ovals, you may notice there's a little oval on some of the signs that have the number of acres preserved. Not all the signs have it, so we're putting acreage ovals on the remaining signs. To just give you an idea of how many acres are preserved on a certain property. So, the catch basin property, my understanding was originally a water source, is it for Sellersville, am I correct on that? And we purchased that property, or the township purchased the property. And $80,000 have been budgeted from the open space funds to demolish buildings. There's a number of old buildings, and there's some, I believe there's settling ponds or something, there's some deep ponds there that are danger basically. So they're gonna flatten the buildings and fill in all the holes, so it's a much safer place for people to actually go out there and go fishing. And lastly, the preserved property database. We keep a database of all of our preserved properties, and the recent additions include both the catch basin and the McGann property, which already has a conservation easement on a fairly large portion. Our meetings are held on the third Thursday of odd-numbered months at 7 o'clock, so it would be January and then March and so on. And our next meeting is January 16th, and you're all welcome to attend if you'd like to come and see how we operate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr.
There's a
Chairman.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don White, Allentown Road.
Yes.
Once there's a conservation easement on a property, is the property still considered private property, or is it open to the public?
You're gonna have to help me there.
It depends on how the conservation easement arose and what the terms of the conservation easement are. Sometimes when we got money from DCNR, there was a requirement as a condition of that grant to allow public access to the property. Sometimes through the county money, when we got conservation easement, there was no such requirement. So every single conservation easement has its own terms. Some of them require public access and some of them don't.
Okay, so what was the Ackerman property? There's no trespassing signs all around that property. Is it still considered private property, or what's the deal?
It may stun you to know that I don't even know that off the top of my head. That was probably 15
so
years ago. It's done.
I
But I'll check and I'll let you know before the end of the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
very good.
property is still private property, it's owned by the owner. I don't know if I can add to that. A number of places when we do conserve a property, we ask that they set aside room for a pathway, because we're trying to complete a number of walking trails. So the idea there is then when we do get enough property strung together, we'll build a walking trail through that area.
Well, that's my concern. That property's down there. It's right beside the Manderfield property.
Yes.
And it's like 90 acres, I believe, and it's all posted. The whole thing's posted. It's not, Ackerman doesn't own it anymore. It's been sold to someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all posted. And when I went down just recently, I'm thinking, I'm not sure that's right. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know the Manderfield has got walking trails, and
Right.
it's actually pretty well used, so
Yes, it
it's a
is.
great place to walk. But
Used to be my private park. And
yeah,
it's
my
not
understanding is
private
not
park.
every one of the properties has the same agreements. They're all different in a way.
My other question is, I'm curious why the Board of Supervisors is not allowing people to use kayaks in the catch basin.
Yeah. Want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have the catch basin property open to the public yet because of the unsafe conditions, okay? So there's no boating, no kayaking. You shouldn't be on the property at all, really.
Okay.
And there's also a liability issue with our insurance.
That's why we haven't opened it up yet.
You're saying that even when it's opened up, it won't be allowed?
No, I don't think we
I
said that.
don't,
We didn't say that.
we didn't say that, but as of now, it's not allowed. I can check back after it's opened up, but as of now, it's not allowed.
Okay. I did not realize it wasn't open. I don't believe there's any no trespassing signs on that property.
We don't actively let people know that it's open. We don't publish that it's open.
I guess I get what you're saying.
We don't want it to make it an attractive
Right.
place.
Yes, okay. Well, when do you,
Not
after you
yet.
take the buildings down, you anticipate making it a park then?
Correct.
At some point in time, yes.
And that's later on the agenda.
Very good. That's all.
That's a long-term plan.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
I'll make a motion, we accept Mr. Schremeier's report as presented.
I'll second it.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, it's moved to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Commission reports. Police report, Chief Rod Glenn.
How's everybody doing, Mary?
Good, how are you
Chief, how are
doing?
you?
Be careful of the roads out there.
Yeah.
Don, I just want to say, on behalf of the police department, I know we're going to talk a little bit about our commission meeting, but I just want to let the West Rockhill residents here know that you've always been supportive of the police department, you know, since you came into office here in 2002. You know, I've appreciated, you know, our lively debates and, you know, us diving into the pension plan and police contracts and police protection units and use of force policies and all those things. So I really appreciated your attentiveness to those issues and, you know, stopping by the station and just talking and looking at things and making sure everything's done right. So really appreciate that, your leadership. So
Thank you, Ron. That's what you paid me big bucks for.
Yeah, yeah. Folks, this is the police report for December. Remember, we're always a month behind on our reporting system because we're still gathering stats for December. So this lists the November activities. The department handled 530 calls for service. Of those calls, 244 were in East Rockhill and 286 were in West Rockhill. The department handled 41 traffic crashes, 17 crashes in East Rockhill and 24 in West Rockhill. 24 of those were reportable crashes and 17 were non-reportable crashes. We handled 4 Part 1 crimes and 28 Part 2 crimes. In East Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: sex offense against a minor, assault case, criminal mischief, 3 cases of possession of marijuana, 2 cases of disorderly conduct, 2 cases of harassment, 1 case of intimidating a witness, 1 trespass case, 8 dog law violations, and 2 ordinance violations. In West Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: assault with a weapon, a theft case, 2 fraud cases, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 disorderly conduct, 2 harassment cases, 1 trespass case, and 1 recklessly endangerment. And criminal charges filed in November, 1 for recklessly endangerment, 4 for disorderly conduct, 1 for public drunkenness, 2 for possession of marijuana, 2 for possession of drug paraphernalia, and 2 for driving under the influence of alcohol and or drugs. And the officers also conducted 229 traffic enforcement details, 16 of those on Old Bethlehem Pike, issuing 14 verbal traffic warnings, 27 citations, and 44 written warnings, and officers also conducted 313 business checks. I'd just also like to remind everybody, since the weather is turning like this and we have bad roadways and possibly hazardous roadways, if you can't get a hold of anybody here at the Township building, let's say it's a weekend, please call the police department. You know, if your road's icy or something's amiss, don't wait till Monday morning and Greg comes into the office and might have 15 calls on the answering service. Just call the police department. And if by some chance during the week you can't get a hold of anybody here, just contact us, and we have direct contact with the road crew, both in East Rockhill, West Rockhill, and PennDOT. So we like to get those reports because then we document that information, so there's a proper flow there, and we can make sure things get done. So, thank you.
I have something I want to add to the chief's report. I received some information about Milford Township, and they have a one-lane bridge like we have, that we have down by our twin churches. Do you have the pictures here? Oh, it's up there, yeah, okay. We thought PennDOT put a sign up there that said 4 cars at a time to keep traffic moving, and it's a PennDOT looking sign. And I called Milford and they said, sure, it's PennDOT. And we've had a lot of good information coming back from people saying that the backup isn't there anymore. So this is great. So I told the chief, and the chief checked in today and found out.
It's not a PennDOT sign. And PennDOT's taking that sign down. So, yeah, I think it's a great sign. You know, we have 2 congested areas on Allentown Road. We have it at Ridge Valley there at the church, and Butter Creek Road right there at the one-lane bridge. So it does get congested there. I've seen people approach that and 2 cars go through or 3 cars, and sometimes that works. And I've also been there and seen where it didn't work. People get agitated when 2 cars go through and it's their turn to go through. So yeah, I did contact PennDOT. Believe it or not, they do have a sign division, and they're aware of that sign, and that is not their sign, so.
So unfortunately, that's not gonna be a solution for us, but we tried.
Yeah, we did try, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's all I had.
Jay, you have any?
Nope, Chief, thanks very much for your report. I'll make a motion, we accept the chief's report as presented.
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
All right.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Chief. Next commission report is joint rec authority, Jim?
We passed our budget last month. There was a very short meeting. There were only 4 of us in attendance. Wasn't a whole lot to say. Actually, there were 4 of us in attendance, 3 from Sellersville and myself. So we still have an opening, which I would like to move forward with. And I will once again ask if we can match the $2,000 that was put forth by Sellersville so we could make our budget for this year. The 2 gentlemen really need more and more time to review that.
Well, I, as I spoke to you last month, I think I made it public that I'm not willing to add the 2,000. Our intent was to reduce our contribution and move it back to the $10,000 originally. And the Joint Rec Authority is supposed to be using the money that the township gives for capital improvements, not to run the day-to-day operation. Now, I know we've been doing that. And Jim, you have put a lot of time and effort. You're doing a great job with the pool. However, I don't think that the township should continue to contribute more money towards that. I think that the Joint Rec Authority should be able to find ways to make that work.
Well, first of all, let me just state, I've never seen any documentation anywhere that said this is supposed to be capital improvements only. And I don't think we've ever been able to find any information that says it's capital improvements only. But I understand your position, and I will just continue to come in and ask.
Okay.
Okay. So just let it go. Okay. I don't have anything else for tonight.
Okay.
I move for approval of Jim's report.
I'll second it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Up here, lady, this time of the year, tax collector's report.
Okay, annual tax bills for the month of December, I've collected $3,671.40 in annual taxes, and in interims, only $34.31. I did collect one streetlight tax of $35.61. All the streetlight taxes have been settled for the 2019 tax year. Do have a week left to collect for taxes. But I do note that we have collected like $1,400 more than that was budgeted, so we're moving in the right direction. Liens will be filed in January for unpaid taxes by December 31st.
Roughly how much do we have unpaid for 2019?
Well, I can't give you the exact number because I have actual collection versus, I'd say, probably around 15,000.
Okay. That's pretty great.
Yeah. It's face versus when people actually pay. But like I said, we have a week left, and I did send out all final notices for county, township, and school taxes on Tuesday, so.
Okay. Any questions, Jim?
I have no questions.
Jim?
No questions?
Entertain a motion for approval of tax collector's
I'll
report.
make a motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Engineers report, Mr. Bellamy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you see on your report, on the agenda, the only thing under my report is the potential Act 537 update. If you recall, it wasn't that many years ago that we undertook a complete rewrite of the Act 537 plan, or the sewage facilities plan for the township. But DEP has come back to us, and not only us, several other townships in Bucks County, and I presume all through the district, requesting some updates to the plan, not a total rewrite of the plan. Their primary concern now is proliferation of stream discharge systems and other repairs. We've had several in the township over the past couple of years. I think our main area has been out on Old Bethlehem Pike. And our overall plan had a statement in it that said if we do identify pockets of problem areas, that the township would do extra review of those areas to determine if there's a better solution than just installing all of these separate stream discharge systems. So they've come to us and asked for the township to undertake that.
Is that a reasonable request,
Um,
based on what we're experiencing?
It's reasonable, they have reason to believe that we are having a number of those systems. There has been quite a few systems in the past couple of years, so it did not surprise me at all that they had made this request. Again, I said it's not an overall study for the whole township, it's some mapping and coordination with the health department to figure out where all these repair systems have been. One of the things that we brought up to DEP is the coordination that we have now with the health department isn't that great. We usually get copied sort of after the fact. We find out about repairs after they've been approved already on some of the systems, not all. Some of them need our signatures and our approvals, other ones don't. So from their side, the DEP committed to try to get a better working relationship with the health department so information flows back and forth better and we have a better handle on where these repairs and problems are coming up. So it's something we'll have to work with Greg to try to get our hands around a bit of a budget of what this endeavor will cost us. It should be a little bit easier for West Rockhill Township than some of our other municipalities that are going through this because you have the newer Act 537 plan, you have the sewage management ordinance in place, which is one of the things they're asking all the other municipalities to do is to establish the sewage management ordinance. And that program, I think, has been working fairly well for us for the past couple of years. So we're ahead of the game for some of the other communities that are being asked to do this. But they're asking nicely now. I assume if we don't cooperate, they won't ask nicely. The next time we'll get some order that we have to comply with an update. So I'll continue to work with Greg. I just wanted to make you aware of what the issue was, what the scope was, and I'll get together with Greg and try to put some numbers to what it may cost to do this mapping and work.
Is the timing an issue? I mean,
They have not given any deadline. I think they're hoping that through this next year that we actively pursue it and have, something to submit to them so we could go back and forth a little bit.
so they have the same information we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they want us to give them some initial mapping so they could determine if they want us to do more or not. So there'll be a little back and forth through the process.
Is there any more questions, Steve, on that?
No, of course, my biggest question is what kind of numbers are we looking at? You're gonna be working on.
Yeah, well, we wanted to explain this situation to you first, and we'll come up with an idea.
This isn't another basin program, is it? Or similar to that?
No, this is strictly looking at, getting records on where all the repairs have been over the past couple of years, map where our poor soils are in the township, and identify if any of those areas is there a better way to serve them? Which really is there a way to get public sewer to some of these areas where we have a lot of failures? That's what they're looking for.
Well, we have an area where we need public water right now, and probably wouldn't hurt to put public sewer there as well. And was that area recommended, or we can discuss that?
If you're referring to Bethlehem Pike, yes.
I am.
We had that discussion, and DEP, actually that's one of the items on there, the last item on their memo that I believe is in your packet, that they are going to look into that issue of the existing treatment plants in that area and how we can get public sewer to them.
Steve, there's no answer other than public water or sewer, because they don't know where that plume is going next.
So I think Don's referring to Tabor Road.
Correct. That would be a public water issue, and that we're not looking at public water at all.
Okay.
This investigation would solely be about not public sewer, but sewer in general.
Sewer in general.
Another
Right.
subject.
But we've been through this already.
But we do have, before the water contamination, we've had the sewer issues on
Yes.
Bethlehem Pike.
Yep.
And DEP indicated a willingness to try to.
Which is right next to the 3 Mile Run Creek.
Yeah. We have several options.
Yep.
To sewer, just none of them have been able to move forward.
Okay. Thank you for your update.
That's all I have unless there's any questions.
Okay. Any further questions? If
No.
not, I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
make a motion, we accept Steve's report.
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Steve. Solicitor's report.
Hi.
Beverly.
Thank you. At the last meeting, you reviewed the plan of the Teresco. And we have prepared a resolution in accordance with the board's direction at that meeting. It's been in your packet. The applicant has sent an email indicating that they accept the conditions. So if you are inclined to approve the resolution, it would take a motion to approve resolution 2019-20.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution
21, sorry.
21.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2019.
I'll second that motion.
Barry, I have a question.
You can vote.
Am I in a position to sign this?
Yes.
Okay. So I wasn't here when this was put in motion.
You weren't here for the discussion, but you're here for the vote, so yes.
Yes. Well, he made the motion, I seconded it, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The second thing on the solicitor's report is authorization, a request for authorization to advertise an ordinance. At the last meeting, you adopted a plan document for your pension plan through PMRS. And they sent it back with a few corrections. They were not substantive, it was just, they put things under different categories than Greg and I did, but it's exactly the same plan, there's no changes being made to the plan, but they would like you to adopt the plan document, the plan agreement by ordinance. And it's a very simple ordinance saying we hereby, establish the plan agreement as our pension plan, and that would be advertised for your next meeting. So if that's all right, just a simple motion to authorize advertisement would be sufficient.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And then, for Don, it says in the Ackerman conservation easement that there's 51 acres that are conserved, there's 4 acres that are not subject to the easement at all. And it says that public access to the property is not generally permitted without the consent of the grantor, the Ackermans, whoever owns it, with the exception of a limited portion of the property identified on the conservation plan map as a corridor adjacent to Butter Creek, designed for the purpose of hiking, recreation, nature study, environmental education, and the like. So, access to the designated area will not be gained through other parts of the property. So there is a public access component to Ackerman along the creek, but the rest of it, you would need permission of the property owner to access the property.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Move for approval of solicitor's report. I hear a second.
Oh, yeah, I'll second it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Township manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the treasurer's report for November 30th. The general fund has $496,268.26. Highway aid, $46,489.33. Open space, $1,118,695.25. The park fund, $10,013.09. The equipment fund, $18,521.67. Highway capital, $128.58. Street light, $34,177.44. The reserve funds, general fund reserve, $351,302.08. Open space, Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage maintenance fund, $175,551.02. Stormwater fund, $7,263.43. And the escrow funds, $374,740.61. You also have a copy of all the bills.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report and payment of bills subject to audit.
Okay, I'll second that.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The next item is the approval of the 2020 budget. The budget was advertised, was put up on the website. There are some highlights for the budgets, which I went over at last month's meeting. There will be $221,465 for road repair. $120,000 will be taken from the reserves and allocated for the Philadelphia legal expense. $80,000 will be allocated for the demolition of the buildings at the catch basin property. And $63,272 will place the 2000 GMC truck and a new debris blower for the John Deere truck. Board has any questions?
I have none. I think you put together a good budget.
No questions?
I have none. I hear a motion for approval of the proposed 2020 budget.
Actually, there was a statement made at the beginning of the meeting that the people in the audience wanted to make comments.
You probably get a motion in a second on the floor before that.
Okay, you made a motion, okay, I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion made,
All the motion second, and there's your question, discussion from the floor.
Or comment.
Comments.
Just made a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Regina Schreiner, Sterners Road.
Please
I'm
continue.
fine here.
No,
I would
you
like
need
to
up
know
here.
how much is being spent on health insurance and who's getting what. Is anybody gonna answer?
I'll answer. I am not on the health insurance plan this year. I've moved off it. My wife and I are getting health insurance through another agency outside of the township. Just so you know, if I had taken it and I had my daughter on the plan also, I could have spent as much as $62,000 this year for the three of us. But we will not be now, and we will never again be on the plan.
Jay?
I'm on the same insurance that I've been on before.
I'd like to know what percent and what dollar figure
I don't
you're
know.
taking for you and your
I don't
Dr.
know those
Detweiler.
numbers exactly, Greg might, but you have to look them up.
Do you know that, Greg?
I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head.
So I can get that from you.
You can put in a right to know request.
I will do that.
Paul Risner, Lawn Avenue, 1402. Just a comment on the $120,000 going to the lawyers for this gas line. Sit here the last 6 months and through these meetings, everybody's crying, they have no decent water, the septic systems are failing.